Hello, Mitchell here with Running Coalescence, and there's a few stretches that I would recommend doing before you do your first run. And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a trainer, none of that. 29 years of experience, that's all. At a bare minimum, this is what I would do. So, there are the muscles that you use. You're going to be extending the foot down. So you got the ankle, you got the calves and shins, you got the hamstrings and quads, and you got the glutes. Those are the main muscles that you're going to be using is glutes and down the whole leg, okay? You have muscles that are used to pull up the foot and push down the foot, okay? But I see people doing number one, they do the hamstring stretch wrong. What they'll do is their foot will be extended out. So their feet will be extended out. And then they will lead with their shoulders. This is wrong. You do not want to do this. Because your back will be tight and you're really just stretching out your back more than anything. And then you're trying to force your hips to do more. What you want to do is you lead with your belly button forward. So you're literally pushing your belly button to the ground. Your spine's actually kind of rotating like that. When you're just bending from the shoulders, you're curving more like that. So that versus that. And see, my shoulders are unlocked. I can move them anywhere I want, okay? Well, what this is doing is as I get to pushing my belly button down more, it's rotating at the hips, it's pulling my hamstrings, and it's pulling on my glute as well, okay? Now this is a very lazy muscle, and it takes a lot. So sometimes even when I'm watching movies, I'll be doing this just to stretch this thing out. The other part is this. There are two hamstrings in our legs. So right now, notice my feet are pointing, okay? That's going to be getting one hamstring done one way. If you're wearing shoes, your feet are going to be more at 90 degrees. This is more neutral for them, okay? But just sitting like this right now, I can feel my outer hamstrings firing more. So this is actually hitting my outer hamstrings more. If I grab my toes slightly and I pull them past that 90 degree, or try to, I can feel the outer hamstrings even more. So that's just one thing to keep in mind with the hamstring stretches. When your toes are pointed versus your toes coming towards you, you're activating and stretching the hamstring muscles, glute muscles, lower leg muscles, foot muscles, all differently. What I see time and time again is people will be doing it one way and only one way. Now, can you be standing and have your leg out? Yes. But again, focus on how your toes are pointed. And usually I'll start off like this sometimes, and then I'll actually go like this in mid-stretch to grab them and pull them. Okay? But that's just going to mainly start activating those hamstrings more. Okay? And if you sit a lot, they're going to be underused. They're going to be very, very tight. Your glute is probably going to be underused, very, very tight. If you have a lot of lower back pain, that's a good sign that your back is trying to do the work of your glute, and your hamstrings are also trying to do the work of your glute. So we got to turn it on. So this alone, pulling like this, it gets your lower, it gets your hams, and it gets your glutes easily. This is one of the bare minimum things that I would do. And usually when I go for a longer run, I don't have to do so much stretching. I don't have to do so much working out, or not working out, but so much stretching and warm up. I just kind of go gradually into it, and I just keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. But there are a few arm things too that I do as well, and they're nothing crazy complicated. But people probably seen people go like this. Well, I'm using this arm and I'm kind of leveraging this arm, kind of trying to straighten it the best to feel it in the shoulder. Okay? And then I'll rotate it and I'll go this way. uh, going like this and then pulling the elbow back down. But the thing is, like the shoulders, the arms, they don't move that much. Sometimes I'll even go like this. I'll place my hand in the back of my head and I'll go back just to kind of get the scapula going. And some days it really pops for me, and then I'll just do this until it stops popping and clicking. And then I know I've loosened it up. But this side never has a problem, but this side sometimes just pops and clicks. I also will do some, I'll be standing. I'm sitting right now, but I'll be standing. I'll kind of go like this to also get my upper back to loosen up, crack a little bit, get the scapulas going. I'll do some across like this for the arms. Because when you're running, your arms are your counterbalance for your legs. Your core only wants to do so much of this, but most of it is transferred into your arms for that counterbalance. So that's a very, very, very basic stretches to do before your run, but take it easy when you're starting. Undershoot your speed. I saw some people today some kids. There were kids at the track. It's a beautiful 71-degree weather, and these kids were 11, 12, 14 years old, something like that. And they were racing each other on the track for the 400 meter. And one of them just, quit halfway every time. And the other one would go, he made it like 3/4 of the way, and then he walked. And he was breathing because he started having cramps and started hurting. But he wanted to get that 400 done. And he was trying to run too fast for what his body could do. Same thing applies when you're running a mile or two for the first time. It is too easy for us to emphasize how fast we should go the first time. So undershoot it a little bit and then accelerate the next time. Or give it all that you got at the end to empty out the tank. But what I told them to do was simply, instead of doing the 400, hey, this is where the 100 meter is. Try to race each other from that down here and see who will win. And this kid, he did it in 19 seconds. Well, at first he did it in 20 seconds. Then I gave him some pointers, and then he did it in 19 seconds. And I said, great. Now all you gotta do is get it down to 9.5, and you broke the world record. And he's like, what? He's like, that's fast. I was like, yeah, but you're just a little sprout, though. You have a lot of growing to do. So, who knows? Maybe I'll see him down the road at the track again. And but he was watching what I was doing as far as my stretch routine on the track, and then I decided to not do the intervals. I want to do this 13-mile run today because it's just a nice day, and the last few days have been really windy, so I just want to go out and kind of relax and enjoy the countryside. But also drink a little bit of water, but not too much water, and don't do it like immediately. I'm talking like an hour before you run, drink water. Because if you aren't used to knowing how much water you can drink before, well, then you're going to cramp up. But you want to have some water in you. Just make sure that you aren't trying to go for your best. You're just trying to go out there and just start. So look into doing some stretching, finding out which kind of feels best for you. Keep in mind what feels tight, okay? Oh, I can do this and this is loose. Oh, I can do this and this is tighter. Well, as you start to progress, those things that are loose may start to tighten up. But it's easier to keep them loose when they started off loose. And then things that are usually tight will usually tend to stay tight longer. So you want to keep on nailing those ones that are loose just so they don't tighten up, okay? Because your body will kind of start shifting and doing some different posture thing and using this muscle a little different, that muscle a little different. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind about how the body changes over to stress that we make it do through exercise in general. So keep in mind what's loose, keep in mind what's tight. hopefully this works for an absolute bare minimum video of what you should do as a minimum stretch, and that's mostly the hamstrings and the glutes. But I still am going to have a very, very complex video that's going to show my entire breakdown of what I do for a warm-up routine, especially on interval days. Okay? So, if the weather's good where you're at, go out there and enjoy some weather. And because where I'm at, it's supposed to be rainy and yucky, but we kind of lucked out the last few days. So, you guys have a great weekend.